What up, everyone? It's Mark here with Worth It Repairs, and today we're working on an iPhone 17 Pro. No, I didn't break the screen. Yes, we are still taking it off.
This video is a real-world example of how to remove and replace the iPhone 17 Pro screen without buying Apple's expensive OEM removal equipment. Just skill, patience, and a little confidence.
And yes, I took it out of the box, right out of the box, just to take it apart for you today, so then I can show you how to replace the screen on the iPhone 17 Pro. First, I'll grab out a P2 screwdriver and remove the 2 screws from the bottom, just like all the other iPhones. Apple wants you to use a specialized tool, a proprietary machine, a very particular amount of money. Me? I'm using a heating pad with some isopropyl alcohol, a suction cup, and a thin plastic pry tool. Slow, gentle, no rushing. This is where screens crack and where technicians panic. We're not doing that today. Surprisingly, with just a suction cup and some alcohol, I was able to lift up the screen so then I could get a thin plastic pry tool underneath the edge of the screen and work my way around the edges so I don't break anything inside the phone. If you were taking the screen off and it was cracked, you're not going to be able to use the suction cup, but you'll have to just start with a metal pry tool and just pry it off like a crazy gorilla. With that being said, you just would want to use a thin metal pry tool and make sure you switch over to the plastic pry tool once you get your tool underneath the bezel of the screen. The way I'm taking off the screen is to show you guys is that I'm the realest tech of them all. And you should subscribe to my channel. And just like that, the screen is off. No cracks, no drama, not a single shard in sight. One of the biggest changes with the iPhone 17 Pro is that everything is serviced through the front. Battery, charge port, all the connectors are accessible once the screen is removed. So yes, screen removal is step 1 for almost every repair. Now we can grab out our PH000 screwdriver and remove the 2 screws holding down the brackets over top the battery connection and the screen and proximity sensor connection. Once we remove these pesky little brackets, we can disconnect the battery here I have highlighted in red with a plastic spudger, the flat end. Yes, so now we got the battery disconnected, so we can disconnect some stuff. Let's disconnect the screen and the proximity sensor connection off the board using the flat end of our plastic spudger, just like this, nice and gentle so you don't break anything. If you're installing an aftermarket screen, you're likely to need to transfer the proximity sensor with a little heat, a little alcohol, and a plastic guitar pick. Slowly and steady wins here. Aftermarket screens will show a screen message warning but functionality, the phone will still work fine. You could micro solder the IC chip to remove the message, but if you're trying to save time and money, it's absolutely not required. If you're using an Apple Genuine screen, the sensor is assembled and comes pre-installed, nice and clean, but you will need to pair the part at the end of the repair to make sure everything is working after you tested it properly. And just to prove a point, I'm reinstalling the original screen we removed. And there you go, a fully working, no issues, no Apple-only magic tools required. Apple calls it this unauthorized. I call it experience. If this video helped you, even a little, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you want some more real-world repairs without the fluff. If you want to support the channel directly, check out my members area and leave me a super thanks, or just share the video as someone who's scared to open their phone. Every bit of support helps fund even more tech fixes. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay repairable, and I'll see you in the next one. I highly recommend buying the pre-cut adhesive that goes around the frame and stuff for this repair. I didn't have it at the time, and this phone is for my daughter, so it's not a big deal if it's not fully adhered with the premium adhesive. This adhesive will work just fine. I've used it on many different repairs, and it's worked, so it's worth it. Gosh, this phone is going to suck to repair when there's other problems because of the screen removal, and also there's a ton of screws for removing the battery to get to any of the other connections.
It's your